All right, so we have a new number 3 team, and that new number 3 team is Bergen Catholic.
Can't believe it. I ain't seen Bergen in no other slot in a very long time. It looks weird.
State playoffs comes out. There's a ranking and there's PowerPoint, strength of schedule, everything. And the official site that you could go to find these results is at Gridiron, New Jersey. Um, Gridiron, New Jersey this week has Bergen Catholic at number 3. And that goes to show that they're awarding St. Peter's Prep for being undefeated.
And that matters to me. Like, we're now at the 5th game of the season, right? So we're not first, second, third, fourth. We're at the 5th game of the season. And St. Peter's is undefeated, right? There's only 2 undefeated teams in the Parochial School League. That's Bosco and St. Peter's, right? Now, everyone else has a loss. So the best of the one-loss teams is Bergen, And here's the reality of it. The reality of it is, going into the season, I predicted no one would come through this unscathed. I believe this is like the old Big North where they were so solid and they went out of state and they represented this state well and then came back into the state and all hell would break loose. You got to respect the undefeated teams right now.
No, absolutely. And for anyone that complains,
win your games.
That's it.
You need to know that's bulletin board material in every locker room.
And if you feel any way, please charge it to my brain and not my heart.
Of course, everyone wants that Notre Dame job. Everyone wants to be on NBC in prime time every week of guaranteed games.
Even when you make decisions going into your high school or transferring from your high school, those are big decisions that will affect the rest of your life. Welcome to part 2 of this week's episode of Keep It a Buck, where we're going to discuss this week's top 20. We're going to talk about this week's games. We're going to pick a game of the week and give some predictions. So let's start with our number 20 team. It is going to go to the Shabazz Bulldogs. Welcome to the top 20.
And for the record, I thought Shabazz should have been number 19, over the number 19 team. So go right ahead.
You may be right.
But like you said, things will work itself out. And Shabazz they're only sending out 1 loss versus the number 2 team now.
1? Oh, 2. Yeah, 2 teams.
But we'll discuss that of who.
Okay. St. Joseph McCutcheon is number 19. Okay. I could see where 19 Shabazz can be there, but okay.
Yeah, I got Shabazz to beat them all day, any day.
Rancocas Valley has dropped from number 10 to number 18 after their loss to Camden.
Just, keep fighting, man.
All right.
A lot of season
Make
left.
your way back. Number 17 is East Orange Jaguars.
Having the season.
Okay.
And they're the only Group 5 that's going to be in our top 20.
Okay. Number 16, Camden Panthers. They got the win against Rancocas Valley.
Yep.
And Burlington Township Falcons is number 15.
Yep, they've been rolling. They had a big win, in that first week 0 versus PCTI, but they're rolling and they're still undefeated.
Number 14, St. Thomas Aquinas Trojans.
Definitely, I think we'll see them, more so getting a competitive.
I think they have PC this week.
Schedule, I think they have a more competitive schedule. I know they have 1 loss on the season. And I believe it was, out-of-state loss from a team in Massachusetts. But they're, things are going to play itself out over the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right. Number 13, Northern Highlands Highlanders. They're playing, well, we'll get there. Number 12, Red Bank Catholic. They dropped. No, sorry. St. Augustine is number 11. They dropped from, where were they?
They were in our top 10 at one point, but,
they were number 6 at one point.
They lost to Winslow High School, 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And entering our top 10 will now go with Ramapo. Well, Ramapo's been looking pretty good.
Pretty good. They have 1 loss to a team that's in our top 10. Also, that when they lost to that team, they were on the road, and that game came down to the final play. So I think Ramapo is still, a contender to win their group for sure.
Okay. And so let's talk about it. Ramapo is playing Passaic County Tech this week.
Hell of a game, because now we get to see the Grusa, Gabriel Miles matchup all over.
I kind of like want to really be at this game. I'm still like up in there, like
I'd want to. Where is it?
It's at PCTI. Last year that was Grusa's coming out party because I believe they started off slow last year. If I'm not mistaken, either 1-2 or 1-3 when Ramapo started the year last year. He was a sophomore, but that was his breakout game where he was player of the week and everything that week, and he balled out against PCTI, and I'm pretty sure they have not forgotten. And I think Gabe has that chip on his shoulder, especially having to sit out some games. All right, he came back last week for them versus Ridgewood, but that's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm going against another talented quarterback in our state. I'm playing home, right? And this is also for PCTI a huge game for them, whether it's for for the playoff seedings and everything. But this is a big opportunity for them to try to find their way into our top 20.
Okay. So another new team to our top 20 is Washington Township.
They've been rolling, and they've been doing it quietly.
Yeah, I mean, we was told they were coming, but everybody, if you listen to everybody's fan base, watch us. Like I tell you, I hate August, right? Because August is this is how we coming this year. This is how we coming until everybody get put to bed, and then we here, right? We're at this point. So Washington Township seems to have really meant what they were saying. They're here.
Yeah, someone in the comments mentioned how that Washington Township and Rancocas Valley would probably go in undefeated, but Rancocas Valley is now not, and Washington Township is here. So they're playing Lenape, if anybody.
Lenape.
Okay,
yeah, Lenape, and they actually last week when we came out the AP poll that has a few media outlets together, they were actually number 10. So we put our vote in as far as where we think teams are in the top 10. So that means for them to be at number 10, they actually received multiple votes, to be in that spot. And that was from last week. So, this is the new one.
Okay. All right, wait. So let's rewind. Let's go back to Ramapo and Passaic County Tech and take predictions. What are we doing?
Oh, okay.
Oh. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, I'm probably the most off I've been in a long time. Y'all got to give me a break, man. I just got out of the hospital. I've been away from the sport for about 2.5 weeks. I can't seem to pick it right, and I don't think I'm picking it right this week either. Right? There's some games I just really don't think that I'm gonna get it right. But I would feel like this game being a home game for Passaic County Tech and losing their last matchup with Ramapo, it should mean more to Passaic County Tech. If they cannot beat Ramapo, then it's just Ramapo just flat out better, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm going Passaic County Tech.
Okay. This may be where we separate because we've been all tied because we've been taking the L together, we've been taking the W's together.
And that's probably my problem, sticking with y'all losers. I way, and I'll be winning, right? What usually happens is I need Nas back, right?
No.
Nas brings the real me. Like I be trying to be politically correct, and then Nas be like, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna tell it like it is. This is where I'm going.
Listen. Well, it's just your luck this week where we're going opposite. I'm gonna go Ramapo, right? Okay. I think they're a battle tested team, right? I know that Gabe is only coming back in his second second game of the season. Also, I thought last week that PCTI, my reason of going with Rampo, I thought PCTI will handle Ridgewood a little bit better because this is more so maybe a down year for Ridgewood.
Yeah, they jumped out on Ridgewood too.
Yeah, and I think it was a 14.
Box score. Let me see when them scores came for Ridgewood.
I think it might have been 28-14. Just check the box score because final scores don't always mean anything. Lenny's huge on the box scores.
I'm going Washington Township just because that's what the people said that too. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. How about you, Justin? While
I'm gonna go Washington Township as well. I think that's a game that they're gonna handle, and I'm gonna say that they win by at least 2 scores.
Nice. Lenny?
Washington Township.
Okay.
Even though Lenape is proud from top to bottom, like their youth program, everything, but Washington Township.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember Lenape. I know, only thing I know for the most part for this season, Lenape, I know that they had, I believe, a coaching change, if I'm not mistaken, and which was like a last-minute hire. So,
And our new number 8, Old Tappan versus Northern Old Tappan versus Northern Highland.
That's probably the second best game, or maybe the best game, second best game of the week, probably in the state.
Yeah, so that's number 8 versus number 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Northern Highlands, they've been rolling, but more so Old Tappan, they're rolling. They got a big upset. I won't say upset. They got a big win over Rampo at the time when they beat Rampo. Rampo was in our top 10. They were not in our top 10. They were right on the bubble. But I'm gonna go with Old Tappan. I'm gonna go with Old Tappan. I like the QB Zach a lot. Takes care of the ball. But I know it's gonna be a tight game for sure.
Where's it at?
I believe it's at Highlands, if I'm not mistaken. It's at North. I believe the game's at Northern Highlands.
All right, I just want to create some separation, so I'll go the other way.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go Old Tappan. You're going Northern
Old
Highlands.
Tappan is probably most likely gonna win.
Don't try to.
I'm going Northern Highlands, though. I told you that.
Stay there. Okay. Glassboro versus Deptford. The Glassboro is number 7 in our new top 10.
I'm going Glassboro all year.
Yeah.
Glassboro, I think they're going to cap off an undefeated season. I'm just calling it now.
Okay.
Which is crazy because that's what got me in trouble with Bergen. I'm going Bergen all year to somebody.
So they knocked the head off and all right, let's see what you do now.
And shout out, next week we're going to get some special guests for Bosco leading into the Zone 6 Classic. So stay tuned from that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the game is at Northern Highlands for the Old Tappan game.
All right, Old Tappan, go up there and handle your handle so we can get Lenny up out of here. He down 2 already. Winslow versus Camden. Oh, okay, yeah. So Winslow is now number 6, and they are playing Camden this week. Now, I know I'm going to get some comments on this one. Let us know who you think they're going to win, and I'm unsure.
I might be a soundbite after this take for this week. Of course, Winslow, I'm gonna take Winslow, and I think Winslow is going to do it by at least 21 plus points.
Oh.
I'm going to do it by 21 points because once you get to that top 5, 6 tier in the state, it's almost like the national rankings, right? Sometimes where, depending on the year, where you could have a number 15 play number 5 in the national rankings, but it's just different tiers and levels to certain programs. Even like you see in college, right? You got the Oregons, you got the Ohio States, that's that top tier. And then you might have some people like a Washington in that second tier, like, okay, you might be 8 or 9 in the country, but I still believe that there's levels to it. And in this situation, I think there's going to be levels that's shown between the difference between Winslow and Camden. So, like I said, I might be a soundbite, but that's my take.
Okay. Let's go. I'm going Winslow just because, again, this South Jersey,
You said you had Winslow for the rest of the year, too.
I got Winslow.
Okay. All right. So, number 5 now is Joe's. They are on a bye this week. Number 4, DePaul. DePaul is playing our number 1. Well, we don't know. I guess we don't know.
It's no surprise. It's no surprise.
Right.
Once we get to the next 2 picks, I think that's more of a conversation.
That's it.
But
yeah, so
it's not a surprise.
It is DePaul will be playing Bosco.
And Bosco's going on the road.
Bosco's going on the road at DePaul. Oh, okay, so we have to choose. I'm going Bosco. They're the number 1 team. They're the team to beat now.
I'm going to go Bosco because I need them to win. I need them to win to go into the Joe's game as the number 1 team. So I'm choosing Bosco.
Yeah, I'm going Bosco.
So you can't be surprised with my pick.
All right.
I do want to see a really good game, though.
Yeah, I do want to see
a good game. We usually do. We usually get a good one. I think that DePaul's offense is so much better than Bosco's offense, but I think Bosco's defense is so much better.
My dad actually went to the Paramus Catholic and DePaul game, and shout out to Derek Zammit. My dad, high school coach for 30 years and everything, and then his main position that he focused on for the most part before doing receivers was quarterbacks, and he had a lot of high praise for Derek Zammit, where he was very impressed, not just with your arm, he was more so talking about your running ability, and I told him, yes, you actually have that ability for sure. So shout out to Derek Zammit. Hopefully you have a really good game versus Bosco for sure.
Absolutely.
He will. I think that he's just so head over heels better than everybody else. He's an X factor. I said it at the beginning of the football season. He's an X factor. Like, he can rise to a level that most people can't meet him at. But again, that Bosco defense they might meet you there. There's a few people over there. You know what I'm saying? I expect Derek Zammit to do what he does, but Ben Gay. I don't even know if the kids know what Ben Gay. Epsom salt.
That's their thing. Epsom salt,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, yeah. It's ice bath.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna earn it. You run on that basketball on the back of court.
Yeah, I think DePaul is going to be very aggressive of trying to get over the top versus Bosco. All right, this kid, like, when you go to the combine, they measure your hands. All right, so this kid legit. I seen it in the Irvington scrimmage. It was an incomplete pass, but this kid threw the ball like 67 yards. Right, and I think with Mason James, Kyron DeBose, right, AJ Larkin, they have those weapons. They have a very good Ramir Thomas, number 2. They have weapons on that offensive side, and I do see them putting this game in their quarterback hands of having the ball in his hands as far as throwing the ball a lot to try to make strides.
He gonna give him fits because it's like that ability to run and throw, but more importantly than that is he's one of the few quarterbacks you see run and never take his eyes from downfield. Like a lot of those guys that can run, they tuck and they're gone. With him, you better be aware of where that line of scrimmage is because when he starts running, if you abandon your responsibility, he will get over the top. And if you don't, then you'll turn around and he's on your back. So.
And you said that's what happened during the Good Counsel game where, his legs, got them back into that game. And I think as far as when you get to number 1 sometimes, you can have a hangover, right? You just never know. They have to
bust your load.
They gotta go over there. It's a early game.
Speaking of that, when Bosco beat Bergen and took the they took the number 1 slot.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, down goes Bergen. So I control to keep it above Twitter and I put that there. But I also, what I had was when Drago had knocked out Apollo and Rocky's looking at him like that because Apollo is Bergen.
Absolutely.
Nicky, that's his brother.
Yeah.
He's Rocky. And he's looking like, oh, we got to go to Russia and get it on now. we got to go to, you beat him. Now you got to see me, right? Yep. So can they run through the Campanelli household?
And the family will be there because Bergen's off.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to a good game. I think that's definitely the game of the week for sure. But I will like to see Bosco offense click a little bit more as far as being consistent.
I think that this is the week that they can probably start to find some footing, right? They had some positive things against Bergen. And again, I think that DePaul's offense is up there with the best of the state. And I just think their defense is trying to find their footing like Bosco's offense is trying to find.
But the defense for Bosco is definitely outstanding for sure. So to hold Bergen to that's a very hard task. They held them to 9 points. So shout out to that Bosco defense for sure.
Even in D-line, Ekin brothers. Excuse me if I missed that.
Ekin brothers.
They were balling out. The DN, 4-star DN. 6'5" kid, he did a hell of a job over there too. I watched him as best I can from the view I had to get because of my stream wasn't down.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's streaming the DePaul Bosco game?
Same people.
Oh God.
Oh.
So listen guys, if y'all can make it up there, make it to the game because if not, you won't see it. You'll have to follow it through Twitter. I'm telling you now. Every week we back at the same BS.
Oh man. All right, so we have a new number 3 team. And that new number 3 team is Bergen Catholic.
I can't believe it. I ain't seen Bergen in no other slot in a very long time. It looks weird.
I think
so. They dropped from 1 to 3. And everybody's going to have a
lot of people might have a problem. Let's talk about it, right?
Let's talk about it.
All right.
So go ahead.
So when state playoffs comes out, there's a ranking and there's PowerPoint, strength of schedule, everything. And the official site that you could go to find these results is at Gridiron, New Jersey. Gridiron, New Jersey this week has Bergen Catholic at number 3. And that goes to show that they're awarding St. Peter's Prep for being undefeated.
And that matters to me. We're now at the 5th game of the season, right? So we're not 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. We're at the 5th game of the season. And St. Peter's is undefeated, right? There's only 2 undefeated teams in the Parochial School League. That's Bosco and St. Peter's, right? Now, everyone else has a loss. So the best of the one-loss teams is Bergen, you know? And here's the reality of it. The reality of it is, going into the season, I predicted no one would come through this unscathed.
You said one or two losses that the state championship will at least have maybe 1 or 2 losses.
I believe this is like the old Big North where they were so solid and they went out of state and they represented this state well and then came back into the state and all hell would break loose. So, you know, Bergen's sitting at 3, but St. Peter still has to play, you know, I believe one more competitive game.
And
I think they have DePaul.
They still have DePaul. They still have Don Bosco Prep on their schedule.
And Bosco still has
it's still a lot of season left.
Yeah, a lot of season left, you know. So like, but you gotta respect the undefeated teams right now.
No, absolutely. And for anyone that complains, the only way that you don't end up in a situation that you're not happy about is
when you
games. That's it. And it's not even a back and forth conversation. We can talk about Gridiron New Jersey.
It hasn't been a conversation in 4 years. At the end of the day, right? Hasn't been a conversation.
We don't have to have this conversation if you just win.
I think the Bergen people are going to say, they're going to look at Peter's schedule and say, outside of Joe's.
True.
Who did they play?
Well, the reality of it is they beat everybody who was on their schedule.
And Peters will have an opportunity to play the same team that Bergen lost to. So just let everything play itself out.
Okay. All right. Well, this week, Peters is the second team on the list, and they are playing Seton Hall Prep. I guess we can all write it down. Everybody's going to go Prep all the way. And then we already talked about...
You know some weird stuff? And I'm just going to give St. Peter's a wake up. For some reason, no matter how bad Seton Hall Prep is, they play St. Peter's good, and they beat St. Peter's that time. So as quickly as we just wrote that in, like we talked about Bosco probably being on a high, St. Peter's, like, they put a lot into beating Joe's too. Like, this has been talked about since the summer. Don't overlook, a Seton Hall Prep because they're young and they're rebuilding and all that. This is where you start to practice championship pedigree, right? You got to go in and you got to take them as serious as everyone else on the schedule.
Yeah, hopefully Cash is good. I know he, came out of that game, a little gimpy. As far as
St. Peter's Prep got receivers for
I know he was probably looking forward to go play versus old team. So I don't know if he's playing this week, but like you said, that's one I might have to show up to that one. Not too far. So it's at the games at Seton Hall.
It's at Seton Hall, so yeah. So
if y'all tailgate and let me know, I might come because I know it's clean over there at Seton Hall. It's clean. Over there at West Orange, it's clean.
I heard the people say you're not even invited anymore.
I didn't say that. They love it when I'm out there,
All right. Well, what's gonna be our game of the week? DePaul and Bosco?
Absolutely.
Okay.
DePaul, I'll say
because DePaul can actually give Bosco its first loss, right?
Yeah.
And then we only got one more undefeated team, and that's St. Peter's.
Absolutely. A lot of good games Friday. Like besides outside of Don Bosco and DePaul, you got the Highlands game versus Old Japan. That's one to keep your eye on. PCTI game versus Ramapo is another good one. So some good Friday games. It seems like the Saturday schedule is not stacked up this weekend at all. But we'll possibly more than likely be at Bosco DePaul on Friday night. And that's a 6 p.m. game time. So don't be late and say, oh, I didn't know. We told you here first. That game is at 6 p.m.
Who sets up a game for rush hour traffic, bro? I got a big problem with what's going on Alps Road. Like, who sets up a game for rush hour traffic?
They must have a reason why I don't know. But please go live just in case, if you don't mind.
Baby boomers got to get the
maybe
bed
the
early.
people we could send you
and all the
have
foolishness
gifts or whatever. What do they have?
streams,
badges or something that we could say.
I want to say
thank you.
I want to send gifts. Yeah, send the gifts.
Send gifts in
the chat, and then we'll lower the ticket price to the games. But yeah, for everyone that's on live that be talking a bunch of nonsense, I had to start kicking people out of the chat.
I know, and then
I didn't know you could do that. You turn the chat off though.
I
can't see
it.
Sometimes I just I know when it's like 400 people, you don't know someone's getting in, they want to be caught up to date. So sometimes I might say something twice, even though I said 30 seconds ago. But I did at one point in the first half, I did turn off the comments, and then I said, all right, second half. But
you did. I heard you say that.
Yeah, I was like, all right,
because there was something that
they were just sometimes it just be a bunch of foolishness in the chat. But second half, I think it was worthy of turning chat back on, and for the most part, it was fine as far as all the comments and people were really in tune with the game as far as what was happening. Like, give us the right update, give us a breakdown of what's happening, and I'm like,
shout out to Zone 6 for being a lifestyle. Gonna give us somewhere to watch the game. The picks are in. Let us know who you have and who do you think is going to win and who we should be watching. If we didn't mention someone, let us know who that is. And it's been
the YouTube comments. You guys,
the YouTube comments. So I think I kind of mentioned. I didn't read them verbatim, but I mentioned them. Let's just see what we have here. Love your channel. I have a question. You may have answered this in the past. I'm from Morris County, New Jersey. Can you guys give an opinion on Rutgers cannot or will not recruit top Jersey talent? Also, do you feel Schiano is capable of bringing this program to an Iowa level? So we have talked about this. I'll let you go in on how we feel about.
My personal opinion on, I don't think that Rutgers has anything against recruiting the state. I think that they put a lot of resources into recruiting the state, and a lot of the majority of the top kids in the state, the real top kids, because I've seen how somehow there's a play between certain kids were committed to Rutgers, and then they were jumping up the ranking rows. Like, stop. Like, that was not the top kid in the state. Like, it looked good, but it wasn't good. The real top kids in the state were actually going other places.
Yes.
So I think that Greg just said, you know what? We're not going to sit around and end up with nothing, right? So they've made a big focus to the Midwest and things like that. And they got competitive real fast through the portal and recruiting the Midwest and things like that. But I truly believe that they would love nothing more than to be able to fence the garden. It just wasn't working out that way. So what are we supposed to do? Just roll over and die? No, we got to go out and get talent.
And I think the portal is going to be the thing that they go to, right?
Most colleges.
Like most colleges now. So regardless of what state you're from, it's like one of those things. Like when you're drafting, you see on a draft day, Mel's Kiper's big board, like who's best available, right? That's in the portal right now. But I know they're always gonna, they're always inviting, kids to come out to games, to recruits. They're doing their due diligence of getting them to come to the facility, getting them to come to their, the teams to come to their 7-on-7. I think they usually do like 80+ schools that come to the actual tournament. So they have their eye on Jersey, but at the end of the day, it shows that we have a lot of talent where some of the kids are exploring other options, as Lenny said.
I think so. I agree and disagree. I think that Rutgers, they do not do a good job on recruiting in Jersey if they're not top.
Yeah, but
and
that's all
part
they
of
want.
But that's a part of the problem, right?
I agree with you.
You could go to Penn State, their roster, they have a lot of Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is a huge state.
It is.
Right? And if you go to a Pennsylvania school, more than likely, and you're good, and you might not be top, but you're good, you're going to have a Rutgers offer. A Penn State offer. And I don't think Rutgers does the same thing, and we're not as big as a state as Pennsylvania. Agree. And that to me is the problem. They would, I get, but I also think that by doing what you said, okay, now they're changing the trajectory of what's going on, and the program is looking good. Maybe it'll look nicer to some Jersey kids. But if you were showing love, automatically, some people, I think this is a thing with Jersey altogether. I'm sorry, but we've seen it with the Nets, right? Their ticket prices was like $15 and nobody was going to the game, and now they're in Brooklyn, right? In New Jersey, you can't go to Pittsburgh and find Cowboys fans and things. They're straight Steelers, right? In Jersey, it's everybody. You got Cowboys, 49ers, you got why aren't you Giants or Jets fans? It's the same. It's a Jersey thing that, to me, for whatever reason, whether it's college, whether it's NFL, whatever it may be, that the love is just not there for the home state.
But Rutgers did get some kids to flip, right, during the part of like the recruiting, where you take someone like a DJ McClary, who was one of the top kids last year out of Snyder High School, that was committed to Penn State, right? Now he's on a Rutgers roster. You also looked at one point before school started, they got Jalen Matthews to commit to come to Rutgers. Of course, then he decided to go to portal to go to Florida State. I know Bosco over Neat DeRillis is there. Right. So some, there are some recruits, but I think we all could agree that Rutgers could be maybe a little bit more aggressive.
I think so, and I think they're doing a better job. I think they're doing a better job than what they were doing before. Like say 2 years ago. I think we did have this conversation maybe 2 years ago. And I think they're doing a better job, but I think they can do even better. That's just my
To
opinion.
your point, I agree. That did escape me. Because you're right. Most schools that talk about they want to fence their area, they actually do that. And when you think about Rutgers' most successful time, it wasn't with the best kids in the state, right? So when you look, right, Jay and Dev was last minute additions. They were fringe FBS players. Their biggest offers like William and Mary and things like that. They had Ron Giroux, who was also the same. You know, you had Ray Rice out of New York, who was also a 2 or 3 offer kid, right? You know what I'm saying? You had a lot of those type of kids. And then, of course, you added in Anthony Davis from Piscataway. There was always a good pipeline from Piscataway. And the big receiver out of, he went pro, Britain, Ted.
Taylor Britt. No.
Britt, Kenny Britt.
Kenny Britt.
Yeah, you know, so, but the most part, Rutgers built that team that actually got the 5 stars to commit like Hamilton and them. That was built on all 2, 3 stars, just really doing your due diligence. And, you know, I didn't think about that, right? There's a lot of really good kids in the state that's not ranked really high, but they can play football. And if they were out there, they would make an impression. Like, because if yesterday was today, you would not have Jay and Dev at Rutgers if yesterday was today, because they had to develop at Rutgers. Rutgers is looking for, only from the state, they say fence the guard and show loyalty to the state, but their loyalty is only to the top kids. They do not show loyalty to the state and just say, if you're tearing New Jersey up,
Right.
we're coming to get you.
Exactly.
And that's true, because that situation of Jay and Dev going to Rutgers, the person that got the short end of the stick was Victor Cruz. Wow. Vic would always tell you, like, hey, I wanted to go to Rutgers, but then they decided to give him Courtney's, you know, they were in the same class. And you see someone like a diamond in the rough, like a Victor Cruz, you know, he ended up going to UMass. Had a great career. Shout out to you, Vic, for getting inducted into the UMass Hall of Fame a couple weeks ago, too. So, you know, people don't know those type of things, but we're talking about it. And you talk about diamond in the rough. I remember when I first started Zone 6, and we vouched super heavy for Kyle Monungai. My dad and, you know, Graciano has a really good relationship, and Kyle was on his way to Brown, right? And now Kyle is playing, not just on the roster, he's playing in the NFL, and, you know, he wasn't the 4-star, 5-star coming out. So, you know, getting some kids that, you know, are good football players could go a long way, too.
Because the kids in the state knows who's who. Like, right, you got guys that's ranked high and ain't nothing really happened. It's a fake ranking, right? And then you could talk to other kids where they like, nah, you got to get your rest with. Like, he's really him.
Yeah, because
right?
real recognizes real at the end of the day.
And it's just like, I think, to your point, Rutgers doesn't do a good enough job of knowing who that is.
Right.
And sometimes that's more influential, right? Because once you get the movement started, where it's like, this the cool thing, like we out there, you know, because the most influential people in the state aren't always the highest ranked kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's the kids they respect the most. Because, like, I'm not ranked as high as you, but you know I'm
gotta
him.
see me. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And a lot of coaches, too, at the college level, unfortunately, you know, and I think that's what makes a great recruiter or a great coach. Some people, as far as coaches, they get caught up in the measurements, all right? Oh, I want you to run a 4.5,
Right.
all right? You know, let me see you, with, you know, with your shoes off. Oh, you're not a tall enough, you know, a corner for me. And I remember, I'll say it now, I remember Fran Brown. He does not like short cornerbacks at all, and he's not shy to say it. Like, if you're not at least minimum 5'11", he's not really looking at you. Or you look at some coaches that say, all right, oh, this guy can't run a 5.10.5 at this time, or can't run a 4.6, right? We're not evaluating you.
They would not go after Ashton Genty. He didn't run the 40 in the NFL Combine for a reason, right? You know what I'm saying? For a reason. And that's the thing, right? You following all these numbers, like, and again, to some of these guys you're talking about, like I know personally, I'm like, okay, they check the boxes, but they can't play football. So you just spent a bunch of money on guys that ain't giving you nothing.
You know who can play football? And this is a great example right now. Cam Scatterbull from New York Giants.
He didn't run a 40 either.
Went 4th, 5th round, whatever. Don't have the 40 that everyone's looking for. But he's definitely one of the most productive football players, whether it's receiving or running the ball. He's a football player.
Speaking of, I'll tell you about a kid that wanted to go to Rutgers really bad and wanted to go to Syracuse.
Okay.
And neither one of them will pull the trigger on him. Clev Lubin at Louisville.
Okay.
One of the top edge rushers in the country. But again, he was out from around my way, you know, not doing much. Well, doing everything. He was a running back there. So he's like 6'3", He was an all-state running back and an all-state basketball player as a two-guard, playing above the rim, right? So when you see that type of athleticism, and then you say now he's an edge, if you look at him now, they may lead the country in sacks and all that. I know who Rutgers took that year. All those guys are in the portal.
So we mentioned Washington Township and Ramcocas Valley. Both have potential to be undefeated heading into the matchup. So we talked about that. Somebody said, I know that voice. I think they're referring to Keith in the previous. And that, let me say, wait, hold on.
Oh, they talking about this new top 20.
I'm sure they are.
336 send-outs.
Somebody
right
did say Don Bosco will be out of the top 5 come Sunday. Well, guess what? They are now number 1. No, this was the week before. They're now number 1. I'm going to be honest, saying that good counsel maybe isn't really that good. From DePaul. Okay, because they lost to 1-3 St. Joe's Prep is crazy talk. St. Joe's Prep battled 3 national power schools and came up short. Look at the team in those losses and put everything in perspective.
Yeah, we didn't say that they weren't good. We just said that they got, that St. Joe's Philly did had a shutout, and we seen St. Joe's Philly defense be a little suspect this year, and the fact that they, actually held them to 0 points, but the amount of points that St. Joe's Philly defense given up to that point in the season was kind of like eye shocking. So to see people comment, about it. I mean, Good Counsel is a really good program. It was no knock to them. It was just more so we thought that St. Joe's Philly defense wasn't, of that caliber.
Okay. All right. Did anyone add anything else? Well, we love the fact that you commented in our comments. If you have any comments, feel free, comment below. We will now even say whatever we need to do is respond either in the comments or on the show. Take a chance and let us know what you think. This is another episode of Keep It a Buck.